Nobody is surprised that burnout happens in healthcare, but we all try to act like it's a surprise. My community is a $1 million community at this point in time, and I was supposed to talk about that, right? And instead, I got on the stage and I cried. Your health doesn't have to be trash because you're saying, I don't have time because I'm building a business and because I'm an entrepreneur. The money, the amount of money just changes. She moved, got more sunshine, is pouring into herself, and her profit increased by 6 figures.
Welcome to CEO Conversations, the private practice podcast. I'm your host, Brandy Mabra. It's time to show up as a confident leader to create a practice and life you love.
Hello. Welcome back to another episode of CEO Conversations. This is Brandy Mabra, and today we're going to be talking about time, money, and energy and why it is so important. So today I want to give you permission to be selfish. I want to give you permission to pour back into yourself. I want to give you permission to put yourself first and put everybody last. And the reason why is because as a healthcare founder, healthcare business owner, private practice owner, healthcare entrepreneur, all the terms that you could be called, we are trained. And I know that this is not a surprise, but we are trained to put everybody else first. We are trained to put our patients first. We are trained to put the person who is in front of us first. Whether we are sitting there and somebody walks up, they come first. We always come last, right? That is the training that we get for years. And so what I have found working with the amount of clients that I've worked with the workshops that I've hosted through my own journey working in healthcare, is this is what brings our businesses down. And especially at this point in time in this recording of 2026, it is what is costing businesses millions of dollars. It is what's costing you really the purpose and the impact that I know God has put on your heart. And I want to do something different about it. So I have created a new workshop called the Profit Playbook. And this was created out of, I'm going to tell a story. I went, because I'm in my own mastermind, I have my own coach. I get put through what my clients get put through all the time. And I think it's important for us to all have like a mentor and somebody who brings out the best in us. And so for my coach, I'm so thankful for him. He gave me an opportunity to be identified as an unstoppable CEO. And I was supposed to get on stage, talk about my journey, talk about the fact that I am doing well in my business, which I am, that I am in a higher levels of revenue. You know, at this point in time, my community is a $1 million community at this point in time. And I was supposed to talk about that, right? And instead I got on the stage and I cried. And I cried from just what I was trying to identify, like a misalignment, and I could not pinpoint it. And if you're a client listening to this is the first time that I'm really even talking about it. It came from a place of something, what I'm teaching isn't connecting for me, and it's not going deep enough. So I am always of business strategy. And I know I get compliments on my podcast because of how I teach, because I provide a lot of good nuggets. If you listen to this podcast, and from what I've been told, if you listen to this podcast, and if you go back and you just listen over and over and over, you can literally probably not even work with me and still make more money, right? Or have a profitable business or be able to lead at a higher level. And I want that for you. But also for the folks who are working with me, there is a difference. And I think sometimes, especially with AI, I'm just going to be really honest and very transparent. I have this thing where people could literally take all my episodes, probably upload it into a Claude or even ChatGPT and probably have Coach Brandy, right? And at the end of the day, don't do that because that is my intellectual property is what I will say. But at the end of the day, I want you to be successful, and I want you to have a business that lights you up. You know, that's why I show up every single week. But as I was crying on the stage, there was just like a big aha of I want to go deeper. I am on this journey of health. I am on this journey of trying to pour back into myself. And there is something that I'm recognizing even with my clients, because my clients are getting amazing results, right? And once something connects or clicks, then it's really fun to watch. And so they are making 90% of revenue year over year, getting 6 figures more of profit year over year, putting 20 hours plus on their schedule year over year. I had a client leave me a message talking about I made 64% more Q1 compared to what I did, even Q1 of last year, right? That's huge. 100% more of revenue. And those types of stats, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions of dollars at this point in time that clients are getting, and hours put back on schedules. And not saying that every journey is perfect. I think sometimes people think testimonials and everything else. Yes, I do great work. I'm very hands-on. But even for the folks who have gone through financial hardship, because business is business, when something clicks, then it's like a upward trajectory and you're just waiting for it to click. And so when I was there trying to explain like something fell off, it was because everything was just strategy and tactics. And so I'm in this place where I want to go deeper. So the Profit Playbook was created out of what do I really want you to do and how are our clients getting these amazing results and what's the difference? And it is the time, money, and energy, right? And so when things start to click with how you were spending your time, how you were setting yourself up to have more energy, then what happens is the money, the amount of money just changes. And it is, again, it's giving you permission to put yourself first. It's giving you permission to give yourself what you need in the seasons and the different seasons of business so that way you can set yourself up for success. So when we think about deep work, then in deep work it is connected to productivity and time management, and there's a whole book called Deep Work, and it's important. And so during deep work, a lot of times people work on their business or they give themselves the thinking time that they need for what their business needs. And I think that's important. However, deep work, in my opinion, is you giving yourself what you need in order to show up as the most amazing leader for yourself and for your business. And so that means sometimes the way that we're looking at our energy changes. So our energy is at its best at the top of the week and at the top of the day. And so with those days, so whether if it's Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, or if it's the 5 a.m. or the 4 a.m.s or the 6 a.m.s or whatever time that you actually wake up, then it's those hours, those precious minutes where you are at your best, right? And regardless, this is not about like, I'm a morning person or I'm a night owl person. This is about when you first wake up. Research shows that when you first wake up, then you have the most of your energy. So it's really about what do you need for yourself in those first hours of your business, in the first days of the week for your business. So if it is where I need to work out because if I don't get the workout in, it won't happen, then you put the workout first. If it is where I need to work on this important business project, because if I don't work on this important business project, it will not get done. If it is, I need to give glory to God and I need to pray and I need to do devotionals. And if I don't do that, then I'm not going to take the time to spend any other time with him. Then that's what you do, right? And so you start your day with what is going to help you to show up as the leader that you need to show up. And people overcomplicate it. People definitely make it harder than what it needs to be. And I'm learning this in real time with my own journey, which is why I'm trying to go deeper as well. And so, for example, right now I'm in the middle of writing an article for a publication. And so this article is taking me back to graduate school because I have to use citations and I need to bring in journals and I need to make sure that I am quoting folks who really said it and all the things. And that is something that I have done I have the experience. I have a master's degree, right? A lot of papers, but it's hard for me. And so with that, that is one of the first things that I'm working on because it's hard for me. So in my deep work time, that's my deep work at this moment. And then my workout comes, right? In other seasons, it's where my workout will not happen. So my workout comes first, right? In other seasons where it's busy, I am waking up and I'm giving glory to God, And so at the end of the day, it's about knowing yourself. And that's the piece when we think about profit, when we think about how you're spending your time, and it's everything starts with you, right? And so you need to make sure that you're setting you up to be the most successful. And that starts at the beginning of the day when your energy is most fresh. But you have to give yourself the time to be able to do that. The other piece of the Profit Playbook is just industry standard, right? And so I am trying to make sure that we're talking about what is currently happening nationally and globally, because all of these things impact what's happening inside of your business. There is a lot that can keep us up at night. And so part of this conversation is, what do you do when you can't sleep, right? But you need sleep because you need the energy in order to show up to build a business, or you need to show up to be able to do the deep work, or you need to show up be able to write the article, or you need to show up to be able to work out, or you need to show up to be able to eat healthy, right? So all of these things are connected. And so part of the playbook is to talk about taking care of yourself, not just in the surface level way, but taking care of yourself in the deeper way of making the doctor's appointment, scheduling the cleaning. If you need massages, get the massage. If you need the therapy appointment, make the therapy appointment. If you need the vacation, you need the vacation. If you need to take a nap, you take the nap, right? And so some folks are like, well, I would love to take a nap, but I can't sleep. Or I would love to be able to sleep, but I wake up at 2 a.m. And when we think about things from a health perspective, because one thing I do know and that I've seen is that sometimes, I'm not going to say it's everybody's that's listening, but sometimes when you're in healthcare, we make the worst patients. And it's because we're so busy taking care of everyone else that we do not put ourselves first and we do not put our health first. So this conversation goes so deep where I am saying, what do you need? So if you can't sleep at night and you already know I'm stressed because the world is crazy, my team is not showing up the way that it needs to, the money isn't making sense. Those are all true. And what else can you do? So this is where the control factor comes in of, I need to sleep, so I'm going to take my magnesium. I need to sleep, so I'm going to talk to my doctor. I need to sleep. I'm going to have a deeper conversation. I need to sleep. I'm going to look at the supplement for my journey because I'm trying to be more open about my journey. So for my journey, I need to sleep, so I take magnesium. I'm on HRT at this point in time, hormone replacement therapy, and I take a cortisol calm. So that way I can make sure, regardless of what's happening, I need to sleep. That is the stance, right? And so I think a lot of folks are in a place of, there's the article that I'm writing. I want to just be transparent. There's the article that I'm writing about burnout, and it's burnout in healthcare. This is not new. Like, it's not a new topic at all. Burnout in healthcare. We have been talking about burnout in healthcare for years. I mean, years. Well, why not just show up with the stance of, if you're in healthcare, you're going to burn out. It's going to happen. At some point, there's a lot of patients that need care. There's a lot of help that has to be provided. So what do we do as the root cause effect, right? So like, what's at the bottom? The healthcare system is broken. I said that on a past episode. Our healthcare system is broken. Nobody is surprised that our healthcare system is broken. Nobody is surprised that burnout happens in healthcare, but we all try to act like it's a surprise. And then we all take on this effect of shock, like we have no control, and we have control. And so what the conversation I'm trying to have is Take control of what you have control of. Control the controllables. And one of the things that you can control is your health. Your health doesn't have to be trash because you're saying, I don't have time because I'm building a business and because I'm an entrepreneur. You're choosing to not put your health first. You're choosing not to make the time, and you're choosing to show up putting someone else first compared to putting yourself first. So this is, again, I'm giving you permission to be selfish, and I'm giving you permission to go after the profit that you deserve, and to making sure that you are the top priority when it comes to this conversation, because you have got to have the energy to show up. So I said in a video, I posted it in my stories, where I said that a lot of people talk about profit is king. And I agree. I do. You need what? The profit is king, cash is king, but also energy is king. And when you do not have the energy that you need, you cannot build a business. You cannot show up as the leader that you need to show up. You cannot think. And so you need the energy. In order to make the amount of money that you want to make, you have got to have the energy. So let me tell you about what happens when this clicks. Because when our clients actually sit down and they get serious about not just their numbers, right? Because this goes deeper. I'm saying it's the Profit Playbook, but it goes deeper than just the revenue minus expenses. They're serious about their numbers, but actually they get more serious about their self-care and how they pour into themselves. And they get more serious about putting themselves first. And that's the difference. When they put themselves first, let me just tell you, increases of 90% revenue. Same person, different mindset, what they're pouring into themselves, right? More rest. One of our clients was going through a huge financial hardship. And with that, she started focusing, even in the financial hardship, she started focusing on herself, and she started focusing on taking days off. And she started focusing on making sure that she was following up with her doctors. She started focusing on meeting with her therapist. She started focusing on everything else outside of the money piece. And what is happening from that? She's leading different. She has the energy that she needs. She's looking at life differently. And what's happening with her financial situation? Her financial situation is changing. Why? Because she's putting herself first. Another client, same thing. She put herself first. She moved, got more sunshine, is pouring into herself, and her profit increased by 6 figures. Like, this is not fake news, right? And so this is a conversation that I want to have deeper. So just to prepare you, there's the Profit Playbook that you are more than welcome to register for. Our next one is coming up at the time of this recording, will be in June. And I would love for you to come. It's a 2-hour workshop, so I want to go deeper. And it's a conversation that everybody needs to have, right? And it's a conversation, if you were sitting there saying, I want to be more profitable, I want my team to run without me, I need to increase my revenue, then this is the place to come, where we are going to talk about those things, but also we're going to go deeper. We are going to go deeper. And so that's the Profit Playbook. The ability to register is in the show notes. Here on the podcast, we are going to start to incorporate health-related topics, and making sure from a women's health perspective that you have more things to set you up as a person, right? I know that there is a lot of healthcare clinicians. You guys are amazing. We are all amazing in our rightful fields. However, you are people first. And just because you are a physician does not mean that you are going to be excluded from everything that might be coming with menopause or perimenopause. Or you might not be excluded from things that happen after you have a baby, or to prepare to have a baby, or, just all the different women things that can happen to our bodies, because our bodies are complicated, right? And so I want to make sure that I'm having a deeper conversation when it comes to the energy piece, so you can show up, and having deeper conversations when it comes to the time piece, so you can have the time that you need to pour back into yourself. And then definitely having more conversations when it comes to the money piece, because I want you to be able to make more money. So if this is interesting to you, then buckle up, sit tight, and be prepared to be poured into. and definitely register too for the Profit Playbook. So that's it for today. I am excited, so excited. The tears that I had in New York were not for nothing, and I cannot wait to continue this conversation. So I hope that you have an amazing day, and I will talk to you soon. All right, bye.
Thanks for listening today. I hope you enjoyed the episode and it empowers you as the CEO of your practice. If you enjoyed the podcast, please make sure you subscribe, share the message, and leave a review. If you want more information and support in growing and scaling your practice, click the link in the show notes to take advantage of our free resources or apply to work with me directly. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.